They called it the Convergence Summit, a historic assembly of 11 starfaring civilizations, each sending delegates to the Asterisk Spire of Accord Asterisk, a massive orbital station suspended in the gravity cradle between twin stars. The media called it diplomacy. Anyone who'd seen war up close knew it was a standoff with tablecloths. I wasn't a politician or a scholar. I was Major Elias Voss, United Earth Marine Corps, and Earth's representative. My orders were clear: don't blink, don't bow, and never forget the room was full of predators, some literal. Every species brought a second, a companion meant to symbolize their culture's ideals. Some arrived with advanced AI minds, wrapped in shimmering light. Others brought twin-souled philosophers or genetically designed peacekeepers. The Valkyrie rolled in with a bipedal armored creature that hissed through vents in its plated neck. That got some attention. But the real disruption came when the Zerati stepped forward and released their second. The room chilled. Out came a creature wrapped in bone and muscle, 6 limbs ending in blades, glowing with bioluminescent veins and breathing mist like an old Earth engine. The Zerati called it the Asterisk Tsenshu Asterisk, their ambassador of intimidation. It wasn't chained. It wasn't muzzled. It was a message: talk peace, but remember what we're capable of. The other delegates stiffened. Some stepped back. I didn't move. I tapped my earpiece. Bring him in. From our bay, through magnetic doors and a security detail trying not to look nervous, padded a creature older than empires. Orange fur, black stripes, muscle that moved like silk over steel. A Bengal tiger, 26 stone of apex patience. No cybernetics. No armor. Just raw, breathing nature. The room didn't just fall silent. It held its breath. We brought a tiger. Because Earth doesn't posture. We mean it. The silence stretched long after Ashoka entered. His paws moved without a sound, but his presence roared louder than anything spoken in that room. The tiger's golden eyes scanned the chamber, curious, unafraid. He didn't snarl. Didn't posture. He just looked. Across the room, the Asterisk Tsenshu Asterisk tensed. Muscles coiled under bone-white armor. It let out a low growl, not unlike a distant avalanche, deep and rolling. The vibration hummed through the deck plating and into my boots. Around the table, some delegates whispered through their translators, while others subtly reached for concealed panic beacons. But Ashoka remained still. Regal. Coiled but calm. The Zerati envoy stepped forward, voice dripping with amusement. Is this your offering of peace, human? A jungle beast? No, I said evenly, never looking away from the Asterisk Tsenshu star. That's our answer to yours. The Valkyrie Warmaster let out a sharp, rattling laugh. You bring a predator to match a predator. Fascinating. Does it kill? I turned slowly. Only when we let it. The Asterisk Tsenshu Asterisk stepped forward, clawed digits clicking against the composite floor. Its gaze locked with Ashoka's. The air seemed to freeze between them, time narrowing to just the two of them. Instinct met instinct. Then, without warning, the Asterisk Tsenshu Asterisk lunged. Just a feint, a test, but the motion was explosive. Delegates gasped. I didn't flinch. Ashoka did not move. Not one hair. He didn't need to. Instead, he let out a single growl, low and rumbling, a sound that sank into bone. It wasn't a challenge. It was a warning. A fact. The Asterisk Tsenshu Asterisk stopped cold. Snarled. Then stepped back. I folded my arms. We're not here to play fear games, I said. We're here to remind you, we survived Earth. That, apparently, said more than any speech ever could. After the confrontation, the summit adjourned under the pretense of schedule adjustments. But everyone knew what really happened. Every species needed time to process what they'd seen. The Asterisk Tsenshu Asterisk had blinked. And the tiger hadn't. That wasn't just a diplomatic moment. That was a psychological shift in the room's power dynamic. I took the opportunity to walk the outer ring of the station, Ashoka pacing beside me like a silent sentinel. The corridor walls were transparent, revealing stars wheeling silently through the black. We passed cleaning drones, ambassadors, and robotic staffers. Some stared. Some moved aside. All were thinking the same thing: why would humans bring a creature like that? The tiger moved with perfect balance, deadly, yes, but beautiful too. There was nothing artificial about him. No enhancements. No programming. Just a living embodiment of patience and lethal potential. Back in our Earth-designated habitat module, I linked into command. Earth analysts had been dissecting the footage. Patterns, signals, posture readings, they noticed something I had too. The Zerati predator hadn't been there to protect. It had been there to intimidate. A psychological weapon rooted in their own culture of dominance and submission. And they'd used this tactic before, across 4 different systems. Diplomacy backed by fear. Subtle threats beneath polished words. They came offering trade but left with territory. This time, it didn't work. Ashoka lounged near the observation window, head resting on massive paws. His breathing was slow, steady. He didn't look like he'd just faced down a galactic monster. He looked bored. "You understand what just happened, don't you?" I asked quietly. He didn't answer, of course. But he blinked once. It was enough. We hadn't just matched their threat. We'd redefined the terms of the summit. And the galaxy had started to notice. The station was never designed to contain predators. It was made for debates, ceremonies, and ceremonial meals that no one actually ate. But now, with one alien delegate dead and a killer loose, the asterisk spire of Accord Asterisk had turned into a hunting ground. The illusion of peace shattered. I moved through the emergency corridors with Ashoka close at my heel, his body low, every muscle tensed but fluid. He was reading the space, his ears twitched at every vibration in the metal, his nose tracking the coppery tang of blood before the station sensors even caught it. The scene we found was grotesque. The Andori delegate's body had been posed, not just killed. Arms splayed in a twisted display of submission, blood painted across the bulkhead in spirals, some kind of language, maybe. Or just theater. Ashoka sniffed once, then let out a low growl. That's when the lights flickered, and something dropped from the ceiling like a nightmare given form. The asterisk Tsenshu asterisk wasn't just loose. It was different. Its movements were sharper, more focused, as if something in it had awakened. This wasn't a posturing beast anymore. This was a killer with a mission. It lunged. Not at me, but at Ashoka. They met mid-air in an explosion of motion, bone and fang against muscle and instinct. The sound of their battle wasn't like a fight. It was like nature arguing with itself. Savage, primal, precise. The asterisk Tsenshu asterisk raked its claws across Ashoka's flank. Ashoka retaliated with a thunderous roar and slammed the alien into the floor. The predator thrashed, but Ashoka was faster. He pinned it, breathing hard, jaws hovering inches from a kill. He looked at me, waiting. Not for a command to kill, but for a choice. And that made him more than a predator. It made him human. The footage spread through the station like wildfire, even though it was never officially released. Someone in maintenance leaked it, grainy security cam angles, raw and unfiltered. The galaxy saw a tiger face down a nightmare and win without killing. And everything changed after that. The Zerati pulled their predator from public view. No press conference, no apology. Just silence. But silence, in diplomacy, says everything. Their game of intimidation had backfired. Badly. The next morning, the summit floor felt different. Tense, but not fearful, more like cautious respect. Delegates who wouldn't look Earth's way before were now stopping to ask questions. Not about weapons. About Ashoka. He is not enhanced, the Trelawney priestess asked, her voice thick with awe. No augments. None, I said. His earthborn. Pure biology. She tilted her head. So he chooses when to act. I nodded. Exactly. They didn't understand us before. Now they were trying to. The Andori, who'd lost one of their own, approached me too. No blame. Just clarity. Your predator killed ours, their elder said. No, I replied, holding their gaze. He stopped it. That's the difference. The second half of the summit was quieter. More serious. Negotiations resumed with urgency. For the first time, mutual defense treaties were proposed. Earth was no longer a novelty but a necessary ally. Behind the scenes, my superiors were stunned. No weapon had done this. No fleet, no show of firepower. Just a tiger, and a choice. Ashoka stayed near me throughout, lounging in the corner during talks, eyes half-lidded but always aware. He didn't move. He didn't need to. And when a dispute erupted between two rival delegations, they stopped shouting only when Ashoka stood and stared at them. He didn't roar. He didn't need to. That stare was louder than war. The Zerati envoy summoned me to a private chamber. No guards, no aides, no translators. Just dim lights, stale air, and a tension so thick I could have sliced it with my sidearm. Ashoka sat beside me, silent as ever, but his eyes tracked every movement behind the envoy's flickering mandibles. "You humiliated us," the envoy hissed, voice low and sharp, more breath than sound. "Your beast shamed ours before the eyes of 11 worlds." I didn't blink. "You brought a monster to frighten. We brought a guardian to remind you, we don't scare easy." The Zerati took a slow step forward. "It did not kill. That was a mistake." "No," I said, my voice flat. "That was a choice. You think restraint is weakness. We don't." They leaned closer. "You should have ordered the kill. It would have proven dominance." "And lost the summit." I scoffed. "That's not dominance. That's desperation." They fell silent, mandibles twitching. I could see the thought churning. This wasn't how their enemies behaved. They were used to threats, escalation, submission. We didn't follow the script. That scared them more than the tiger ever could. "Your species," the envoy said finally, "is more dangerous than we believed." "Good," I replied. "So is yours. But we don't need to prove it every time we enter a room." Ashoka stood then, slow and deliberate. The Zerati flinched, not from sound or movement, but from what they saw in those eyes, a killer that had chosen not to strike. That moment shattered their doctrine. Not just fear, but dominance through mercy. It was alien to them. Uncomfortable. Powerful. When we left the chamber, Ashoka's tail flicked once. A punctuation mark. The Zerati hadn't just lost face. They'd learned something new about humanity. We choose when to be monsters. The final day of the summit arrived with little fanfare, but the shift in atmosphere was undeniable. The tone was no longer stiff or adversarial, it was reverent. Delegates who once ignored Earth now paused to nod as I passed. Some bowed to Ashoka, whispering blessings in languages our translators didn't bother decoding. Something had changed, not just in how they saw us, but in how they saw themselves. The peace accords were signed without interruption. No last-minute threats, no predator displays, no veiled warnings. Just mutual agreement, spurred not by fear, but by the sudden awareness that peace isn't weakness. It's discipline. Earth's name appeared first on the agreement. Not alphabetically, not politically, but because we'd earned it. Not with warships or superweapons, but with presence, purpose, and a tiger who spoke louder in silence than any diplomat ever could. After the ceremony, Ashoka and I stood at the observation deck, stars rolling past like slow, ancient eyes. He sat beside me, his breathing calm, eyes steady. He didn't seem changed by it. But I was. We both were. "Never thought you'd be the one to speak for Earth," I said, half smiling. He blinked. No sound. Just presence. Still. Watchful. Artists from 5 systems requested holoskins of him. Sculptors wanted to recreate the moment he stared down the asterisked Senshu star. Poets started calling him the quiet raw star. And somewhere, in the bowels of the Spire's archive servers, that raw footage of the fight was preserved forever, a lesson etched in motion and restraint. We hadn't come to dominate. We came to remind them. Peace is not the absence of power. It's what happens when power refuses to strike first. And in that moment, the galaxy finally understood. Humanity doesn't just survive. We define the terms.